Coming up on the Q30 Newscast, we take a look at Student Government Association's budget cuts.
And administration responds to past student outcry with a new multicultural space.
And Muslim students on campus hold an event to shatter misconceptions about their faith.
All this and more coming up on the Q30 Newscast. Good evening, I'm Paul Caracciolo.
And I'm Joel Vanner.
Minority students have voiced their frustration about the lack of designated campus space for them.
And administration has listened. They have announced a plan to build a space in the Carl Hansen Student Center. Andrew Badillo has the story.
Diversity and inclusion are often the most talked about and sensitive issues on college campuses around the country, including at Quinnipiac University, where it has recently announced plans to construct a multicultural suite.
It's right across from the bookstore. It now is an area where it's open. They have couches, living, space for students just to hang out.
The announcement of the space came just over a week after a Quinnipiac student posted this racially insensitive Snapchat. However, administration says plans to create the suite were not a reaction to campus-wide outrage caused by the photo.
The students have been wanting the space for years, and with all of the initiatives that the university is doing right now, it kind of got woven into that process.
And I think that having the space in the Student Center provides an opportunity for students to say, administrators care.
Administration could say they genuinely care about diversity and inclusion, all that they want, but it's going to come down to taking action and being transparent to give students hope.
I know that Mark Thompson has been meeting with students pretty regularly the last couple of weeks to answer their questions and kind of understand where they're coming from, and he's been really, really supportive in all of this.
It's been pretty supportive so far. They've basically said yes to everything that we've wanted.
However, the addition of the multicultural suite is only the beginning in the university's effort to suppress the racial tension that has become prevalent on campus.
We have done a lot of good work here, but more needs to happen, and so it has to happen at all different levels, in the classroom, outside of the classroom, RAs, student government.
The university says construction of the suite will start over winter break. They hope it will be ready by the start of the spring semester. Reporting from Quinnipiac, Andrew Badillo, Q30 News.
The funds allocated for student organizations was cut by administration, which led to Student Government Association making cuts as well. Student Government Association is given money to distribute to chartered student organizations on campus. With cuts coming from above, student government was forced to cut all off-campus event funding for organizations that applied for budgets this semester. Some organizations that received large cuts in other aspects of their budgeting were enforced to apply for special appeals, which could potentially grant them more money than originally allocated. Vice President of Finance George Cordy is considering reaching out to organizations to collect the money they haven't used for events that already occurred to increase the budget for special appeals. Whether Cordy will be collecting will be confirmed in coming weeks.
So we had such a high request for money. We had like $55,000 when we only were allowed to give out $15,000. So we decided to follow the same set of guidelines we follow for special appeals, which states that the types of requests that will be heard would be in the following order: on-campus events that benefit the entire student body of Quinnipiac University, then off-campus events, then conferences, then competitions.
Many Quinnipiac students are wondering what is going on with the generator lights in North Lot. The university is doing maintenance on the normal lights in North Lot. The generator lights are meant to be temporary. The maintenance request came from students and their concerns with the night and the dark parking lot. The maintenance started on October 26, which is when the generator lights were placed in. There's no set date for when the maintenance will end, but facilities will continue to repair them.
Actually, Paul, it's done.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's done.
Thank God.
And Quinnipiac isn't just rising above the rest on a national level, it's setting the global standard. Quinnipiac has become the second school in the country to have both its undergraduate and graduate public relations programs certified by the Public Relations Society of America. The certification in Education for Public Relations presents the global standard in PR education. Dr. Hilary Fussell-Cisco, the chair and associate professor of strategic communication, attended PRSA's International Conference in Indianapolis on October 22nd to formally accept the certification for the university. The Quinnipiac University Parents Association is offering bus service for students to get home for Thanksgiving break. Students can take a bus to Albany, New York, Uniondale, New York, Natick, Massachusetts, or Paramus, New Jersey. The buses will drop students off at various shopping centers in those towns so that they can be picked up by family members. The buses depart Friday, November 18th at 5 p.m. and return from the various drop-off locations on Sunday, November 27th. The cost for the buses is $50 round trip.
Ireland's Great Hunger Museum at Quinnipiac University will reopen to the public on November 2nd. The building has been closed to make necessary building improvements since July. The reopening includes a temporary display on Connecticut humanitarian Ilu Burritt. This installation includes a portrait of Burritt on loan from the Ilu Burritt Library at Central Connecticut State University. Burritt was born in New Britain, Connecticut, the youngest of 10 children. In 1847, Burritt visited Ireland during the worst of the famine. Burritt was so appalled by the conditions he witnessed that he wrote a journal of a visit of 3 days to Skibbereen and its neighborhood, to tell American audiences of the plight of the Irish. The museum is pleased to feature Burritt's story and to place Connecticut into the context within the story of the famine in Ireland. The museum's hours are Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., Thursday, 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., and Sunday, 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. Admission is free. The Women's Support of the Humanity Club had speakers from the Women and Families Center and the Victim Rights Center of Connecticut come to Mount Carmel Auditorium Tuesday to speak to students. Speakers talked about many important topics for college women. Topics such as sexual assault on campus, the definition of consent, rape culture, the Connecticut criminal justice process, campus safety at Quinnipiac, and the services that each organization provides. Many came out to support the event and was an overall success.
Election day is quickly approaching and the polls are changing day by day.
I know, Joel. Tonight we have Caitlin Wardlow as our politician update. Caitlin, what do the polls tell us?
Thanks, guys. Just when you thought the 2016 presidential campaign couldn't get any crazier, the candidates proved it could. With just a week remaining until the fateful election day, the FBI reopened the investigation on Hillary Clinton's email scandal, saying new evidence related to the case has been uncovered. They now have a warrant to search the computer of Clinton's top aide, Huma Abedin. Even though this new information came out last week, law enforcement officials confirmed they knew about the evidence for weeks. Why this was not released to the public earlier has not been explained. This new scandal has taken a toll on Clinton's popularity rating. In an ABC poll, voters were 46% likely to vote for Trump and 45% likely to vote for Clinton. Trump has been trailing Clinton the last few weeks, but has taken the news as an opportunity and is closing the gap. Third-party candidate Gary Johnson has 3%, and Green Party candidate Jill Stein has 2%. Since the release of the news, Clinton has dropped 8 points. Trump has also taken the lead in the toss-up states, but leading Clinton by 7%. Early voters could say Clinton, where she leads 55% to Trump's 39%. With 6 days to go, only time and America's votes will tell. That's all for this political wrap-up. Until next week when we'll have our newly elected president. Back to you guys at the desk.
And when we come back,
the president of the Muslim Student Association tells us about their Meet a Muslim event.
And the Democratic Party headquarters get a little stinky in our national news.
Stay with us.
I could really go for a Ray and Mike's sub right now.
Come to Ray and Mike's and try our Philly chicken and cheese for just over $4. giant cheesesteak subs, and mouth-watering boar's head sandwiches for as low as $4.75. Qcash accepted just a mile down the road on Whitney, here at Ray and Mike's.
This week's trending topic is #that. We are your source for Quinnipiac entertainment news.
Welcome back to the Q30 Newscast.
The occupational therapy program teamed up with an elderly couple to help them clear their collection of antique books.
Mike Iozzo has a story.
On October 27th in the Student Center atrium, the Student Occupational Therapy Program hosted an antique book fair to help an elderly couple start to clear their collection.
So today we are selling books for an elderly couple that we work with. Once a week we go to their house and help them do things like cleaning and just like going through their books and cooking, and they wanted to donate their books. So yeah, we're just selling them.
What we are able to do is go into people's homes and be able to do things that wouldn't normally be covered as volunteer work. And so Joe and Trudy had expressed to us that they had always wanted to have an antique book fair. And so we have brought that dream to reality.
Joe has been collecting books for many years, but how did he get into this niche field of collecting?
Well, some of them go back to to when I was 5 years old, because they were, my aunt was a teacher, and she had, reading books that she used in her school, and I think some of the books here, or at least if they're not here, they're back in the shelves, and were books that she gave me then.
Students saw this as both an amazing opportunity to help an elderly couple, but also a way to see some very interesting books.
I think it's awesome. I think it's a great opportunity for an older couple to donate their book.
A bunch of novels that I've heard of before, and it sounded cool, so I thought that was neat that you had the opportunity to take a look at them.
This sale was a huge success, raising money for both the Student Occupational Therapy Fund and the couple's local church. I'm Mike Iozzo reporting for Q30 News.
The Muslim Student Association had an event, Meet a Muslim, in the piazza earlier today. Members of the organization stood behind a table that displayed an array of donuts and candy. Members conversed with students over donuts. The association had the event because studies show most people with negative feelings towards Muslims have never met a Muslim. Aya Galal, president of the association, spoke about flipping those negative feelings.
We decided to organize Meet a Muslim because we just want to clear up misconceptions about the religion of Islam and the followers. Unfortunately, especially with this election season, we've been hearing about Muslims a lot, and there's been a lot of negative information, a lot of inaccurate information about Muslims getting thrown out there. So we just want to have conversations with people, answer any questions they might have, clear up misconceptions, and everyone can enjoy free donuts and apple cider at the same time. So it's really just a way of informing people, educating people. We want to clear up misconceptions and enjoy good food at the same time.
The members of the Muslim Student Association encourage students to ask questions about their faith and enjoy the breakfast items.
The Black Student Union held Art Fest in the Piazza yesterday to raise awareness about sexual health. A representative from the AIDS Project New Haven was at the event to educate students on the risks of sexually transmitted infections. Keeping with the theme of sexual health, students could pick up free condoms as well as pamphlets on ways to protect themselves from diseases and infections. Students were treated to food from Moe's as well as cupcakes. Speaking of cupcakes, Joe, I could go for some donuts, to be honest with you. Krispy Kreme.
Well, Paul, maybe donuts made the national news this week, along with the North Dakota oil pipeline protest and an interesting load that was dropped off at the Democratic Party headquarters in Ohio.
Well, Brenna's going to tell us about that, right? Brenna, what's new in the nation?
Thanks, Joel and Paul. The North Dakota Access Pipeline, commonly known as the DALP, continues to threaten water resources and sacred lands. Facebook users across the country checked into Standing Rock, North Dakota to confuse police forces monitoring the ongoing protests. Police have been using the Facebook location to disrupt prayer camps. Activists have been protesting since April, but violence has increased as officials use pepper spray and arrest those who refuse to leave. More than 400 people have been arrested since August. Native American leaders have vowed to continue the demonstration throughout the winter. And 22 people were injured at a NASCAR race on Monday in Virginia. A blue Chevrolet SSR tried to pass a traffic line in the parking lot after a NASCAR race. The driver drove into a Jeep and then hit a crowd. A witness said he saw 6 or 7 people get trucked and one person ran all the way over. 7 of the 22 bystanders injured were taken to nearby hospitals. None of the injuries were life-threatening. No one was killed, and the driver is in police custody. The same witness said the driver seemed to be out of it. According to officials, the investigation remains ongoing. The Democratic headquarters got a little smelly this past weekend. A large truckload of manure was dumped in front of the Democratic Party headquarters in Ohio on Saturday. The pile was 15 to 20 feet wide and about 3 feet tall. Volunteers cleared and hauled away the manure. The same incident also occurred in 2012 when Obama was running for his second term. No one was ever charged for the incident in 2012 because the headquarters apparently did not have a camera security system. This time around, the act was caught on tape. Police are reviewing the footage. And Halloween is officially over, so people are excited to hear that the 2016 Rockefeller Christmas tree has been chosen. The enormous Norway spruce currently sits in Oneonta, New York. The tree will be cut down on November 10th and will arrive in Manhattan on November 12th. This year marks the 84th annual tree lighting in New York City. The tree lighting will take place in Rockefeller Plaza on November 30th. That's all for your national news. I'm Brenna Oricoli. Now back to the desk.
When we come back from the break, Carrie Golden takes a look at the weather forecast, and we take a trip to Hollywood with Brooke Riley.
Don't touch those remotes. We'll be right back.
Good evening and welcome to Sports Pause.
In the end, we're here to win a championship this year.
Jess Fontaine now has that. She's going to take a ripper off the post, but she's going to come back.
And my number one, hold your applause, Bobcats fans, is Quinnipiac.
All right, Victoria, you know what time it is. It's top 5 plays of the week.
My favorite time.
This week's trending topic is #that. We are your source for Quinnipiac entertainment news.
I could really go for a Ray and Mike's sub right now.
Come to Ray and Mike's and try our Philly chicken and cheese for just over $4. Giant cheesesteak subs and mouth-watering boar's head sandwiches for as low as $4.75. Q-Cash accepted just a mile down the road on Whitney, here at Ray and Mike's.
Thanks for not touching that remote. Welcome back to the Q30 Newscast.
We're now joined by Carrie Sunshine Golden with our Q30 Newscast full weather report. Carrie.
Paul, I sure hope the warm weather doesn't keep coming back.
I think Carrie's, I brought all my shorts, I left them at home. If it comes back, I don't know what I'm gonna do. My legs are gonna start sweating. We can't have that happen. Carrie, what's the weather got
Now,
for us?
Carrie, tell us what's good.
All right, guys, let's get right down to it this week with your full weather forecast. Looking at tonight, it's going to be 52 degrees, partly cloudy, so if you got somewhere to go, if you got chapter to go to, or some other event, I'd bring a coat. It's going to be just a little bit chilly, but 4 miles per hour wind, so not too bad. Looking ahead into tomorrow's forecast, it's going to be 70 degrees. Another great day, just like today was a great day. However, there will be some thunderstorms, so you can still get the last couple wears out of your summer clothing or your fallish type summer clothing. However, you might want to bring a rain jacket with you or possibly an umbrella for some scattered thunderstorms. But there will only be 4 miles per hour winds, so no need to worry about that. Looking at the areas around us and the towns surrounding, we have New Haven, New London, Norwich, Storrs, Hartford, Meriden, and Waterbury. They're all right around the same temperature, 68, 67, 66, so it's a good night to go out on the town, maybe try a new restaurant, hang out with some friends, just go out and enjoy the nice weather. And then looking at the rest of the week, tomorrow, like we said before, it's going to be some scattered thunderstorms with a high of 70, low of 45. So again, bring a rain jacket with you, possibly an umbrella. Could get a little bit chilly. Looking at Friday, Saturday, Sunday, if you plan to go home, it's a great weekend to go home right before Thanksgiving because it's only going to be partly cloudy and it's not going to be too hot, so you won't miss too much on campus with highs of 52, 55, and 54 and lows of 32, 41, and 35. So again, another great weekend to go home if you plan to do that. Not too bad to drive in. Looking at the rest of next week, Monday, same thing, partly cloudy. And then Tuesday should be really sunny with a high of 55. So you might want to break out that fall clothing. And then Wednesday, a high of 55. Looking at last week, or last year, around this time, we had a high of 69 and a low of 61. So we're right around that same range. So that's all I have this week for your full weather forecast. I'm Carrie Golden. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Carrie. Joel, I hope that rain stays on Thursday because I have plans to go apple picking with my mom this weekend.
Well, thanks for the invite, Paul, but pick some good ones and bring them in for the crew. By the way, I hope the warm weather is just...
I hope it does stay a little bit, just a little bit
But
longer.
I already told you I brought my shorts home.
Well, I mean, I'll tell you what. I'll bring some apples for you and the crew. We just got to keep them away from our producer, Sarah, because, you know, she's got that apple allergy.
Do you think she likes That's So Raven? And did you hear that Disney Channel announced that That's So Raven is coming back? Brooke Riley has our entertainment news update.
Thanks, guys. Disney has been on a live-action roll lately. It is confirmed that they are currently in the process of making a live-action musical version of Snow White. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs will be the latest amongst Disney's animated films that have become a live-action movie. Over the last 3 years, Disney has earned a lot of money from their most recent live-action films, The Jungle Book, Cinderella, and Maleficent, and Snow White is expected to earn even more. Looking ahead, Disney's next release will be Beauty and the Beast, which will come out in March of 2017. Speaking of Disney, Disney Channel has announced that they will be releasing a sequel to That's So Raven. The comedy was widely watched and loved by many children from 2003 to 2007. Now, Raven Baxter will be back as a divorced mother of a teenage son and daughter. It is said that one of them will have her psychic abilities to see into the future. The release date has not yet been announced. In the music world, Taylor Swift and Drake have been working on new music together. There has been previous discussions, but the project was put on hold due to their busy schedules. They have always been fans of each other's music and are looking forward to creating something legendary. With this, there are rumors circulating of the two being a couple. However, Taylor did not attend Drake's Halloween party this past Sunday night, and evidently Drake was flirting with other women. It will be a matter of time before the story between Taylor Swift and Drake unfolds. And finally, it was a tear-jerking episode of Dancing with the Stars for many fans on Monday night. The beloved Olympic swimmer Ryan Lochte and professional Cheryl Burke were eliminated. Lochte is sad to be leaving, but he is thankful for the experience that he had finding himself and creating a new family on the show. They had a successful run, and it will be interesting to see who gets eliminated next, as season 23 quickly approaches its finale. That's it for your entertainment news. I'm Brooke Riley. Now back to the desk.
When we come back, Chris Dacey gives us the rundown for what happened recently in Bobcat Sports Nation.
2 minutes, and we'll be back.
Sorry,
I could really go for a Ray and Mike's sub right now.
Come to Ray and Mike's and try our Philly chicken and cheese for just over $4. Giant cheesesteak subs and mouth-watering boar's head sandwiches for as low as $4.75. Qcash accepted just a mile down the road on Whitney, here at Ray and Mike's.
Thanks for sticking with us. Before we get into sports, over the weekend, Q30's own sports show, Sports Pause, took home the pinnacle for Best Television Sportscast. The pinnacle is awarded to the best student-run sportscast on a national level. This is the second pinnacle the show has won in 3 years, and I hear that my co-anchor tonight, Paul, was on that crew.
I was the
Congratulations,
EP.
Paul.
That's right, Joel.
Congratulations.
Well, thank you. I mean, couldn't have done that myself. The current AP of Sports Pause is actually with us right now. He's tall, he's blonde and handsome. Let's throw it over to Chris Dacey. Chris, busy week in Bobcat Nation. What do you have for us?
Guys, thank you so much for having me on the newscast this week. It is great to be here. Let's start things off with the Quinnipiac women's hockey team as they started ECAC play last Friday with a win over in-state rival Yale. The score was a convincing win. It was a 4-1 victory for the Bobcats. But that wasn't all. The team hit the road again and traveled to Providence to clash with another ECAC team, Brown. The Bobcats took care of Brown with an 8-0 win. Yes, you heard that right, 8-0. Now onto the rugby team, which is coming off its 213-0 win over Castleton, and it finally had its senior day last Saturday to honor the 7 seniors on the team. Well, sort of. The game was played at Southington High School against AIC. The Bobcats jumped out to a 38-8 lead late in the second half. However, AIC started to make a comeback. However, AIC did fall short as the Bobcats took care of AIC by a score of 38-34. The women's soccer team coming into last week was in 5th place in the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference. After a win against St. Peter's and a Marist loss, the Bobcats moved up into the 4th seed. And with that 4th seed, the Bobcats hosted the first round in the playoffs at the QU soccer field against Canisius. The Bobcats had a strong offensive showing as they won. All 3 goals were scored by sophomores like Nadia Gill, Al Palantir, and Kelly Caruso, I'm sorry. And now we have our men's soccer highlight. Let's get right into it here. And here we are, Ryder at Quinnipiac. This is the 1 versus 2 seed here in the MAC. We're going into the first half. We have Rashawn Dowley coming down. He's bringing it into the net. He's going to shoot right here. He's going to deflect off a Ryder player right in the back. That's a heartbreaker for Ryder there. QU goes up 1-0 here as you see QU celebrating. That's a big goal for them early in the contest. And here we go. After Ryder gets a goal right past Chris Yakovitis. That's a PK by Jose Aguina. The score goes up. Ryder goes up 2-1 here, and now into the second half. We have during a play here, play stops, and we're going to have a red card on Quinnipiac on number 4, Connor McCoy, and he is sent off in this second half. Now Quinnipiac has to go down a man. And now here, still in the second half, another red card, this time by Philosmar Cordero. Ryder still leads 2-1, and now the Bobcats are down 2 men as he sprints right off the field. He knew it right away. And now you see Associate Athletic Director Ken Sweden talking to some fans. But as this is going on, another red card for Quinnipiac. This is number 22, Evan Hughes. And now Ryder leads 3-1, and Quinnipiac is down 3 men. And as you see here, Coach DaCosta refuses to shake the ref's hand right there in the middle. That's the head guy. And that's a tough loss for Quinnipiac there. They still are in first place, however, with this loss. They lead Ryder by 1 point. and they're going into the Fairfield game tonight. If they do win that game, they do take the MAC. That's all I got for sports for you today, you guys. Back to you guys on the desk.
Thanks, Chris. You can catch more Bobcat Nation sports news as well as all of your hard news and entertainment updates on our website, q30television.com.
Don't forget to follow Q30 News on Twitter at Q30 News and follow the entire Q30 television station at Q30 Television.
Thank you for tuning in to tonight's Q30 Newscast. I'm Joel Vanner.
And I'm Paul Caracciolo.
Good night and see you next week.